All right, so this is the palate cleanser between a bunch of really amazing sessions. Any of you who have a great team that you work with or a bunch of support in your firm or company, go ahead and tune out for the next 10 minutes. But I know there are a bunch of you in the room and in the online audience who are a team of one. So I'm corporate counsel at the Home Depot. Now, you would think that a company as big as the Home Depot might have more than one person handling e-discovery. You would be wrong. So this is the Power of One, Journey of a Solo e-Discovery Counsel. This is really just the thought process that were going on in my head when I was interviewing for this job, and now I'm just gonna say them out loud. So the real answer, e-discovery is not a solo endeavor. Just because you're the only one in your company, the only one on your team, the only one at your firm doing whatever it is that you're doing, you are not alone. There are still going to be other people who are there to help you, there to work with you, there to support you. Let's talk about who these people are. So you have a bunch of different people who you're gonna interact with who are really on your team. Now you might feel like that little kid in the back of the goal. I would say that would me, but then it would just be a picture of me really eating the grass because that's really the best I could do when it came to athletics. But who's on your team, right? If you're practicing e-discovery in a corporation, you have a bunch of people that you're gonna interact with. You know, call them stakeholders, call them partners, call them whatever you want. You have your in-house counsel. You have your in-house paralegals. A lot of us have in-house forensics people or IT. Just because, again, that's not their job is not to be your part of your team doesn't mean that you're not gonna have to work with them. Of course, you have outside counsel, you have your alternative legal service providers, you have your software providers. So when you really start to think about it, your team is a lot bigger than one. Now, it would be remiss of me not to touch on costs a little bit, right? Because when you have these outside partners, it's pretty obvious what the costs are, right? I see a couple of my discovery counsel in the room. I know how much they bill me. They know how much I write off their time. But don't forget that your in-house people also have costs, right? There are hidden costs. You go to your IT and say, I need to collect 6 mailboxes. That takes away from their day job, right? Because unless their job is to do that, then right, obviates the whole point of my session, which is you're a team of one. But there is, these people all have other things to do. So just be cognizant of when you are asking someone to do something for you, what are you taking away? What is the hidden cost of that? You know, just as a side note, I would say to all of our outside counsel and service providers in the room, whenever you email your corporate client and ask them to do something, or ask them, well, why don't you just go to your IT department and do something? Keep that in mind, that there is all these hidden costs. Because as much as I'd like to say it, the business of Home Depot is not collecting mailboxes, but it is selling paint and lumber and all the things that you guys thankfully buy on a regular basis to improve your homes. So, be a subject matter expert. Don't be a task taker. This will kindly dovetail into a session that I'm moderating tomorrow with some of the fine people in the room. But the goal here is you don't have time for tasks. You just don't. You cannot be the one who's handling every individual matter. You will never sleep, you will never eat, you will never leave your desk. So focus on the big picture, what we call de-risk the business, right? Because at the end of the day, you're there to serve the business. What can I do to reduce the risk, help our legal partners so that our business partners can be the most successful that they can be? Cost savings are important, but not necessarily the most important, right? So my general counsel used a great example, very timely with the conclusion of the Winter Olympics, the game of curling, right? The business are the people throwing the rock. The legal department's job is to be the person with the broom, sweep, clear it, reduce the friction on the ice, get that stone to where it's going, help the business meet their goal. So, I put the trademark symbol there, but since it's my company, I didn't know if I needed to, but you know, we have a great slogan, how doers get more done. These are really just 4 kind of high-level tips, right? Decentralize and delegate. You'll hear me saying the same things over and over, which is you just don't have the time to do everything yourself. So spread the burden. Make things a responsibility of other people, right? Create your program where different people have different responsibilities, where in other companies or in other teams, they may have it. So for example, legal hold is a great example. Some companies are blessed to have a legal hold person, somebody whose job it is to create the legal holds, issue them, track them. If you don't have that, maybe get the paralegals involved. So if they have a case, it's their responsibility. So again, decentralize and delegate. Documentation and training. Invest time up front for the long-term benefits. It's almost certainly gonna be quicker if you do it yourself, right? Something comes in, you're like, hey, let me just knock this out. It will be quicker, but if you take the time and invest to train someone else, eventually that will pay off. That will pay off dividends and, again, take more things off your plate. Be available to troubleshoot, to be an expert, to solve new and innovative problems, but try to train people to do some of the things you do. Automation, obviously we touch on a lot. There are oftentimes ways that you can automate parts of your job and parts of your role, again, taking things off your plate. Come back to the example of legal hold. In some companies, you communicate with your IT, they go into Purview, they place the legal hold, they let you know. Other way, there are plenty of people who have built and designed software that can do an automatic in-place preservation. That's, again, a way to automate to take something off your plate. And then efficiency, strengthen your workflows, constantly revisit your workflows. What can you eliminate? What can you simplify? What can you automate? Do whatever you can to try to squeeze more productivity out of your day. Last thing, construct a network. Now, I will say there's very clear difference between a team and a network. So a team is who you work with to get your job done. A network is a group of people who help you do your job better. You guys are my network. We're each other's network because we are here to help us do our jobs better. Do some industry benchmarking. Spend time learning, whether it's coming to conferences like this, reading articles, watching a CLE. And then once you have a network, use it, right? LinkedIn connections are not just a scorecard. It's not just a popularity contest. Reach out, fight through the awkwardness of cold calling someone and saying, hey, I saw you did this, I have a question, or you do the same thing I do, can I please have some help? It will be awkward for about 30 seconds, and then you'll be good to go, and you'll be very glad you did it. So, ultimately, you can do it. One of my favorite memes, you can do it. It seems daunting. When you first take a role where you are the only person, sole contributor, you might be sitting there and being like, oh my God, what did I just do, right? But you can do it, right? Have confidence, take some time, but don't forget to have boundaries, right? You have to, just from a human perspective, you do not want to get burnt out. That's not good for you. That's not the company. It's not good for anybody. If you invest the time to set up your program properly, even a team of one person can take a vacation. It is possible. Now, in case my boss is listening, I just want to let you know I still do need help. Please create an FTE for me. However, I'm pretty sure that if I'm at a conference for a couple of days, if I go on a vacation, the Home Depot is not going to go out of business. Believe it or not, we are not brain surgeons. Oftentimes, if there is an emergency, I was speaking to somebody about this at lunch, if there's an emergency, it was because somebody else created it. We don't really have very often true emergencies. Somebody missed a deadline, somebody backburnered something, and now all of a sudden it came up. Like, if you just slow down, take a breath, think about what you're doing, then you really can be very successful as a team of one. And now I release my last minute to whoever wants to come next. Thank you.
The mic now.